I was speaking to a Gursikh recently, and he said that even though he's been brought up in Sikhi, but still he didn't realize that he's getting caught up in such a web of just making more and more money. And he had a situation in his life, a difficult time, and to get his mind off that situation, he kind of just focused more and more in his actual work. And what happens is, because there's that something missing inside, and we're all wanting to experience something, and we all want to have this amazing feeling of contentment, or this immense feeling of pleasure within. So what happens is, then we might get caught up in this web, and it might be work, and then eventually what happens is, we get so caught up and we think, you know what, maybe this will do it for me. Maybe this will make me forget the situation that I'm going through. Maybe this will make me get over the pain that I'm experiencing. Even if somebody's going through a mental health issue, and many people will say, you know what, all it is, you need something to look forward to, you need something to focus on. I said, if you're able to find someone to focus on, you'll be okay. But what we forget is, when we sometimes give advice like that, it might be we're giving that advice as well from unawareness and not looking at the root cause and the actual problem. What happens if somebody's trying to come away from a certain addiction, and that might be actual drugs, where they're always intoxicated by something, with something, and they're trying to get away from that intoxication. And Benji was saying as well that working sometimes with people that are drug addicts, and what they'll do is then they'll attach themselves to something else. And one of the things that especially when it's men trying to get away from drugs, they'll go crazy and get addicted to weightlifting. And sometimes we'll obviously think, well, that's amazing, and it is obviously very positive in the sense that it's better than where you're destroying your body by drugs. So there's a person from the outside is thinking this is really good, but not realizing actually they still got a problem of addiction. So even then, that new habit might be weightlifting, which is way better than taking drugs. It's actually good for you, you get your heart rate going and everything else, and it gives you that positive focus. But sometimes what we tend to miss is that we're not actually breaking this person out of that cycle that they're in. So when we talk about, and I'm sure most people here have heard of the term OCD, a very common one is cleaning as well. And you'll get some that have got a compulsive disorder of washing their hands constantly. So just talking about how we might be thinking, John, they've come out of all of that, that's good, but we don't realize that they've still got a problem of OCD, they've still got an issue of addiction, which still stands, which still needs to be dealt with, because even then that can become unhealthy. Because that's why Maharaji is constantly talking about, they use the word sahaj, which is reaching that equilibrium and being in that complete balance. That's why Maharaji in Gurbani as well, when Maharaji say to us that Khanneho tikhi, Valho nikki, et marg jana, and what that means is, that doesn't just mean, oh, this is a difficult path and stuff, you might have to die for your dharam. And normally we use these pangtiyan, it's when we talk about, you have to just go out and give your life and give shaheedi and all of this stuff, and that's why this path is so sharp. But when Maharaji talk about that this is like walking on the edge of a sword, Maharaji is explaining that it's so difficult to get the right balance in life. Imagine now, when Maharaji says that Valho Nikki, they're saying this path is even thinner than a strand of hair, then you imagine how difficult it is actually to get that balance right. So where we might be looking from the outside and say, "Vadiya, theek ho gaya." sorted. And then they attach themselves onto something. They say, "Chalo vadiya," at least they're just focusing on work now. Not realizing that they're focusing on work so much that one of the chores have gotten a hold of them as well. Just like Satguru Ji Sache Paatshah say, they say that is dehi andar panch chor vas hai. Paatshah is saying that within this body are these panch chor. So this is dehi andar panch chor vas hai. And then they say that, what do? This is amrit loote manmukh nahi bujhe. This is the manmukhs that are following, those that are following the voice of their mind. This is when there's so much noise inside and all we do is we follow that noise. So even though that it's not that we're meant to follow every thought, and a lot of the times we take that thought to be reality and the truth. So Paatshah Ji say, manmukh nahi bujhe, the manmukhs don't understand this. What happens is that their job is amrit loote, to take our amrit, to take our peace away from us. So we're getting so entangled in work, and somebody's saying, well, at least they're like now getting away from their situation, and now they're actually not, caught up in their pain anymore, but not realizing that the greed is getting so much of a grip of them now. And like I said, I was speaking to a Gursikh recently, and again, I've been told recently that I do a lot of assuming. So when you meet certain people and you think they wouldn't get caught up in greed and stuff with work like that. And he said to me, he goes, it was getting that bad. He goes, that I even started thinking about making some dirty money. That even if I had to bend a few rules, and like I said, he's grown up in Sikhi. And his father's a very well-respected Gursikh, and he goes, I was just very lucky that I was just saved and taken out of that situation, because I was very close to just take that path now and start making some money that was based off falsehood and based off lies. So we sometimes can be in this false illusion that somebody is okay because that habit is better than the other habit. But Paatshah is saying, Jitne ras, an ras, ham dekhe. This is that, but all these pleasures that I've seen Guru Ramdas Ji Sache Paatshah saying, Sab titne feek aanne. They said they're all tasteless. So it's not, so now somebody's like thinking that this is it, my life is all about exercise now, my life is all about cleaning now. So he was talking about cleansingness and trying to there was a logic behind Suchamta. Recently I've met a few psychologists, and he said, Viji goes, we've had recently patients coming to us, he goes, that are Amritari, that people look up to. He goes, but they've got OCD of washing their hands, but now their OCD has gone so bad, because it started off with trying to just keep Suchamta, trying to keep cleanliness, and when you're going to touch your poti, when you read your part, make sure your hands are clean, and then it gets to the point of, if I just touched did I just touch my face with my finger, and is my finger duty now, and then you go back and you wash yourself again. And he says it's gotten to the point where they can't even pick their own children up anymore because they think their children are dirty. This path was meant to fix us. When we don't understand it and we misinterpret it, then what happens is, from having bad habits, we then cling on to another habit, but thinking this is part of dharam and it's a good habit, but even that is destroying us just as much as that was destroying us. Physical alcohol and drugs may have been actually destroying our body inside, and then we were then causing a disruption to the society as well and destroying other people, but we end up doing that under the name of religion as well, because those practices have now gone outside of that true devotion. And that's why I often think that sometimes that some of the rules that we've created nowadays, and we've become so rigid. And I really do feel that if Guru Nanak Dev Ji or the likes of Bhagat Kabir Ji was here today in that physical form, and there'll be people today and saying, oh look, that's wrong what you're doing, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. You know, go and wash your hands. And because we've come away from that true devotion. I'm not saying everything should be based on logic, but a lot of like keeping Suchamta and stuff as well was based on breaking those barriers of, one, where people had caste discrimination. When Maharaj made everyone drink from the same bhatta, for example, they were breaking that discrimination of caste as well. But then there was that as well, where they're saying that you're not to then share with others as well. But that was why? Because again, there was logic behind that. Because if we now say that it's okay to share with anyone, there were people there, they said, we want to take Amrit too. Why? Because they wanted to take Amrit because they saw how powerful Guru Gobind Singh Ji was becoming. They said, but, there's no way we can share a bhatta with the Shudras, with the untouchables. So, but this Maharaj said, then I'm not going to be preparing anything for you guys separate. You take, if you're going to take Amrit, you take that Amrit. And then what happens is, if an Amritari went and, for example, shared a plate with them, they would still feel that they are superior. That somebody now that has taken Amrit, they can still share with us, but they can't share with anyone else. And there was a lot of logic behind things that Maharaji did. But there's still, when Panj Pyare today as well give rahat, they will say as well, they say like, you don't just go up and just eat from anyone's plate. Even if it is other Amritaris as well, because there's hygiene as well. So a lot of these things, we've got a lot of people start questioning these things, but it's just good practice anyway within the household to have these things. Paach is saying that jitne rasa an rasa hum dekhe sab titne feek feekane. So what happens is Maharaj says, actually, whatever you're getting addicted to, whether it be exercise, whatever it may be, you know, they said it's still fikka, it's still tasteless, it's still not the real thing. This is har ka naam amrit ras chakhya. And Sadhguru ji saying, but when mil Sadhguru meet ras ganne, but when you meet the Sadhguru, that taste that the Guru gives you of God's name is like the ras of that ganna. It's like the juice of that sugar cane. And what happens is, if we don't reach that stage of getting to experience that ras, that true juice that flows inside when you connect to God, until we don't get that, there's always that danger of falling off the path. Why? Because yet we haven't reached that stage of being able to say, like Guru Ramdas Ji Paach saying that jitne ras, that all the pleasures of the world, jitne ras hum dekhe, that I've seen, titne sab feek fikane, are completely tasteless. Because if we haven't had that supreme experience yet, still there's that chance of thinking, well, you know what, I'm not really getting anything out of this. I might as well grab onto that. I might as well go back to that. You know, I might as well start eating that again. I might as well start looking like this again. I might as well start doing that again. And that's what, like I said, there was recently someone that he kept his dari, and then his own family started saying that changa nahi lagda, you know, kidda hun khilri jaiya, and you look all messy and stuff. And ohne bechare ne kat di jaake. Because yet, but if he had the supreme experience of that ras, passes har har nit karhe rasana. Even if constantly your rasana, your tongue is saying Hari Hari, is saying God's name, har har karhe nit rasana. He says, but kahya kachu na jani. But though the one's name that we are saying, kahya kachu na jani, we still don't know anything of that one. So we've still not connected to that one. We've still not felt the compassion. We've not still experienced love. And we're saying, Pacha ji, you know what? I just haven't got any strength at the moment. Pacha, at the moment, I'm telling you, I'm so weak. I'm a failure, and this could be for anything. Look, it's not just about case. For someone it could be amratavallah, for somebody it could be lying, for somebody it could be slandering, for somebody it could be alcohol, for somebody it could be speaking back to your parents, somebody it could be anything. But it's actually saying that, Pachaji, I am at that state, I am weak, I can't do it, but I know the only thing I have got is that I do want it. But I'm just saying at the moment I'm struggling with it, but I do want it because Sikhi is that. Sikhi is following you. Sikhi isn't that I just want to do what I want to do, I'll take a bit of this and I'll leave that, because isn't that how we do it nowadays? We just pick and choose. Sikhi means kehndे तुसी मर जाओ, तुसी है ही नहीं होना. That's what Bhai Gurdas ji says. Bhai Gurdas ji says, murde wang murid hoye. This says, tu murid banna. Murid means sek. Kehndे banna sek, kehndे fir mar ja. That's why Satguru ji, Guru Amardas ji Paach ne ek kya na, kehndे Satguru ki seva safal hai, je ko kare chit laye. Kehndé chit la ke karo seva Guru di. Chit means that you do it from inside. And doing something from inside doesn't mean following your man and doing something. It doesn't mean, well, I know what I want to do. I only want to do this for you because this suits me. This is my devotion for you. That's not what devotion is. Padshah kehte, Guru Gobind Singh ji kehte, namastang udare, namastang apare. What does that even mean, namastang udare? What does udare mean? Udare? Udare da bhav hunda vishal dil hona. Vishal means big, wide. He says, you know why, Guru? His heart is huge, huge. Vishal dil wala hai Rabb. Kinna vadda oda dil? Apare has no limit. Has no limit. Our hearts gotta become open and as big as that for everyone. Udare. Apna vi dil jidin khul gaya, फिर आप कह सकते हैं we're in oneness, we're experiencing love. And then people, जब आप आग कोल बैठ के सेक लेने हैं, साडे कोल आके सारे प्रेम दा सेक लोगे फिर. Then people will take the heat of love from us. We will receive only those fruits of how big our bowl of faith is.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Please donate and help spread Guruji's message. Link is in the description below. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.